there, it's Bec and Deb from Dare to Be You, coming with some simple spirituality for a great life. So if you haven't already, subscribe below to our YouTube channel and you'll get more of these great videos.
And you can also subscribe to our mailing list so you hear about all sorts of other things we're up to, and the link will be in the comments below here to subscribe to our mailing list.
Yeah, so today's video is all about relationships and what to do when other people don't behave like they should. And this is a video, we actually did something around this recently which had a lot of engagement and interest, so we thought we'd talk a bit more about that. So do you want to start us off, Deb?
Yeah, so relationships is a subject very dear to my heart. It was a place that I really messed my life up for the longest time, and then coming across this understanding, the simple spirituality that we share, completely changed everything for me and my view of relationships. And of course, I suppose like most of us, one of the most difficult things in a relationship is that other person. Whatever relationship it's, whether it's your child, your significant other, or somebody you work with, it's I'm okay, it's this other person, they're so annoying, they don't do what they are supposed to do. And it can really feel within a relationship that somebody else has a role to play, and unless they play their role correctly, it's very difficult for you to be okay. And what we've started to see, and what has really changed for me since I came across this understanding, is the fact that my okayness, me being okay, me being all right, does not depend on other people acting in certain ways. It doesn't necessarily always feel like that, but there is definitely, what we're pointing to is that there is a place within you where you are always okay, no matter what the other people in your life are doing. And what we have really noticed is that if we, when we begin to recognise that place, and we'll be pointing to that and talking about that, how we do that and how you get to that place. But as we start to recognise that within ourselves, what we begin to see is that the other people can't carry on behaving the way they do if we maintain our okayness. I remember talking to someone about an orchestra and musical instruments, and the way that musical instruments tune, the way that we tune them in, and somebody, will play a note and then all the other instruments will kind of go to that note. And what I've noticed with myself is if somebody is really irritating me or annoying me, it seems like that's an invitation for me to keep playing my okay note or go to their annoying note. So, and definitely what we're pointing to is finding your note, finding your okay note and staying in that place. Keep continuing to play that note no matter what tune someone else is playing.
Yeah, and I know for me, for the longest time, it looked like, as Deb was saying there in that metaphor, that my okay note was reliant on this person behaving that way, that person doing this person, consistently being good and proper and loving me in the right ways, and I had a whole list of things that people had to do to prove that they liked me and loved me, and if they didn't do those things or they seemed to veer off on their own path, how dare they, I instantly went into a place where I had to try and manipulate them and correct them and get them back on, and I had all sorts of little tricks up my sleeve as to how I could do that. If I do this, if I say that to them, if I use these words or this tone of voice.
Cry.
Yes, crying's a great one, isn't it? If I cry, they'll behave the way I want them to. And I can see how much we, all of us as humans, can do that when we absolutely believe that our okay note comes from that other person's behaviour. And one of the things that we've massively seen around this conversation is how that isn't where it comes from. No. That okayness that we talk about, or kind of peace, happiness, love, actually comes from inside of us. It's already ours. And the more we see that and the more we point to that, I've noticed for both of us and other people how that manipulative kind of behaviour, that trying to make other people different, just drops away. Because we don't need it. We don't need them to behave differently in order for us to be okay. And what happens almost as a byproduct is that person changes anyway. Like if I'm changing, they're changing, because my view of the world comes from me. So what tends to happen is as soon as I shift into that okayness, it gives people around me the space to find their okayness too, without even meaning to. We just resonate at a higher level of kind of happiness and consciousness, and there's really something in this being reminded that our okayness is already intact, and other people's behaviour, and then, you know, when I have my list of they must behave like this, and they you know, they have to message me every day, they have to ask the right questions, they have to, you know, tell me that they like me, or that my hair looks good, or that, you know, I said something nice. When I had that list of things, I never felt that okayness in me, because I really looked for it in those things. And the more I do it entirely the other way around. I look for my okayness first, and then those things, if they happen, if people tell me my hair looks nice, perfect. And if they don't, so what? You know, my okayness isn't reliant on those things.
It's exhausting, isn't it? When we live from that place, when it's like we're always on high alert. It's like we're always on duty. Yes. We're always kind of, you know, we're watching out. We're continually checking in for how we feel, and continually kind of seeing what other people are doing to make sure we're okay. It is like the old, when they kind of say spinning plates and things, it very much feels as if we are living from that place. And life, excuse me, and life isn't meant to be about spinning plates, and it's not how it works. Life is much easier than that. You know, we're pointing to something, we can do this naturally. We have got so used to being on alert and being that way that feels normal to us. So sometimes when we kind of switch to this place of, do you know what, your okayness is always within you, it's always yours, you can't lose it. When we switch to that, it can feel a little awkward and a little, you know, we're not familiar with it. Something else has become our normal. But as we begin to kind of relax into that, life just gets so much easier, because it is absolutely exhausting when you have to police yourself and police everybody else to make sure, you know, when it feels as if a set of circumstances need to be in place for you to be okay. And to see that simply isn't true. You know, who you truly are, that this deeper truth about you is, it's absolutely mind-blowing when you begin to look in that direction, and you begin to see that your okayness, you know, you have everything within you. And that's very much what we're about, pointing you back to yourself. Because as soon as you give your okayness to something, you know, as soon as I go into a place of, well, Bec needs to do certain things for me to be okay, then I have to be this kind of soldier I have to be on alert. What's Bec doing? What's she up to? And it becomes really, really difficult. But when I look to myself, when I kind of get to know who I am and look to myself, and I begin to see my okayness, all the love I will ever need comes from within me. I already have that. It's a totally different way of seeing life.
Yeah. And the beautiful thing about the okayness being built in is that's true for me, it's true for Deb, and it's true for every one of us. And so when we talk about that okayness and kind of pointing you back to yours, one of the things I've noticed that I do now is when I'm having a conversation with someone, if I find myself going into a place of they need to be okay for me to be okay, I can almost straight away see the okayness in them.
Yeah.
And the more I see the okayness in myself, the more I see it in other people, and vice versa. The less I have to do, like Deb was just saying, if she needs me to be okay, well, straight away she can see the okayness in me. Straight away she knows there's an okayness in her. There's nothing else to do. And we can get lost in that taking responsibility for other people. I need Andrew, my partner, to be okay, so therefore I've got to make sure everybody at his work is okay, so that they treat him nicely at work, and I've got to make sure other people on the road are okay, so if he's out on his bike he's okay, you know, and suddenly there's loads of things I have to do. But when I come back and remember that he's always okay, and so am I, and actually so is everybody that he works with, and so is everybody out on the roads and anything else, you know, there's nothing for me to do then. So it just takes all this massive responsibility off our shoulders.
We can really see, you know, when you talk like that, you can really see that it doesn't stop anywhere. You know, like you say, if I need you to be okay, so I'm okay, or my partner or my children, if I need them to be okay, so I'm okay, it's endless. You know, where do you stop?
Yeah.
It just continues and continues. Your job just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And that is definitely the place where I found myself. And we become overwhelmed and we become depressed, or, you know, life is too difficult. It feels like it's walking through treacle, and it's no wonder we're exhausted. And to see that that isn't how life works, you know, and we need to stop looking out there and turn our eyes inwards and begin to see, find that place within us. And first of all, it can sound a little bit like, are you sure? You know, it doesn't look to me like these people are okay, and it looks to me like it's my job. You know, within a relationship, we can kind of say, do you know what, it's my job to make sure my partner's okay. That's part of what this is. And we're absolutely not saying don't be kind, don't be nice, don't do your utmost to be nice to people. Absolutely do. But it's coming from a totally different place. When we are needy and we are coming from, you know, I need to be kind to you so that I'm okay, it's totally different from when it's incredibly hard work, and it hasn't got the same connection and depth. You know, the other person knows neediness isn't a nice feeling, it's not a nice energy to be in. And when we swap into a place of knowing that we are okay, but actually I can be kind to other people, it's like we have an energy and a really good vibe about us when we come from that place.
Yeah, and it's really easy from that place. It's really, really easy. Like just the simple things, like almost every time I'm at my partner's house for the weekend, he goes off to work on a Sunday morning, and then I travel back down to Devon sometimes Sunday, and almost every time I'm there, I do the washing up before I leave, because it's so easy to do that. Like, it doesn't look like a chore. It doesn't look like, oh, he should have done it, it's his house. I just, oh, there's the washing up and I'm doing it, because it's so easy to be that kind and to do something like that, because there's no, oh, in order for Andrew to be okay, I've got to be okay, and so he's got to do this and I've got to do that, and the washing up has to be done, and da-da. It's all just coming from a really light-hearted and easy space. And I notice the times when it's not. Yeah. I'm aware if I'm doing it from a place of, oh, he hasn't and I should and we this, versus, oh, look, there's the washing up and it turns out I'm doing it. It's just an entirely different, I feel it in my shoulders. I can literally feel when I'm weighed down with the responsibility of other people's okayness, and when I'm not feeling that, it's like, oh, my shoulders feel light.
Yeah. And we've made other videos, and there's a video on our YouTube channel about balance. So if you want to know a little bit more about that, go and watch the video about balance.
Yeah. So the invitation is to go out in the world and see where you can see your okayness and everybody else's.
Yeah, and look within you. Look within you. And if you've got any questions, and if there's any other videos you want us to make, if this has brought up anything for you, put it in the comments below. You know, we're making regular videos now, so we'll make a video for you about any questions that you have.
Subscribe below. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.